Hello and welcome back to the Folklore Hiking Stick Workshop. Well, in this video we're going to be talking about hiking sticks, the selection process you will have to go through to get one that not only fits you, will suit the task that you require from it. There is quite a few things you have to take into consideration, and the question has been posed to me multiple times: what is the difference between sticks? A stick is a stick, right? But unfortunately not. A stick or a good hiking stick will aid you over the ground, not only with stability, it will aid you with braking going downhill and giving you forward momentum going uphill. And indeed, even on the level, a good fitted and adequate stick will help propel you along. So there is a lot to consider and you really need to get it right. And the longer distances you do and the more challenging environments you go into, getting the right stick can be the difference between having a pleasant, successful long distance hike, or it can be, well, to the detriment of your hiking and enjoyment, and even to the point you'll just want to throw it in the hedge and leave it there. So, we'll dive straight into this straight away. So for reference, I've got a really nice hiking stick, and this is what I would call a good starting point. It's straight, it's got a nice comfortable thumb grip to allow the hand to go into. But moreoverly, we're going to talk about sizing first. Now this hiking stick is possibly a little bit longer for somebody like me at 5'7". I wouldn't need it quite as long as this, but it does do the job. What you want to do is stand sideways, get your arm out in a 90-degree angle, and then put your hiking stick in the hand like this. Now, if you have a look, you've got a spare bit of shaft leading up to the crown of the hiking stick. My hand and my thumb can't get up over there. If I put it like that, I've got a little bit more of an upward curve. Not a big deal for somebody of my height. I can go up a little bit, but if somebody was higher than me, they might want, if rather than having a smaller one, this would be perfect for them. As you can see, if I brought it up there, that would be perfect. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's all about comfort. A fitted stick to you will make all the difference. It's not just using it, it's also, if you have too long, it becomes unwieldy when you're in tight conditions, country lanes, scampering through footpaths, undergrowth and things like that, or you're out on the trail. A good stick needs to be able to come by your side and not be intrusive if you're not using it. Because it's a one-piece item, you can't collapse it. It has to feel nice in the hand, just the right weight, and be able to, when you're walking, be able to flow with your arms like this. If it's too heavy on the front or the back, that can lead to unnecessary strain over time and distance on your arms. That might sound, implausible, but if you've done any long distance hiking and a long time on the trail or walking, something like this, if it's not right, you will notice it. And in severe cases, if you've misjudged the stick that you've got, it can be to the point that you do not want to carry on with it. So just to round up about sizing, I've got two examples here. We'll start off with this stick here. This is a nice, yet again, straight one. It's got a rounded crown, and this one here is a bit shorter, and it's perfect for me. I can wrap my hand around the lanyard, get there, and as you can see, it flows very well. This one here also feels nice in the hand if you're on a section of trail that you're not requiring the stick to give you any assistance. So yeah, in size difference, you can see straight away this one here is about 3 inches longer. Even though there is no right and wrong over the size that you pick, you could be holding your stick down here, but your stick could be up here. It's just the biomechanics of moving with it that you'll have to compensate extra pendulum effect, i.e. if it's top heavy, that will over time be putting weight and strain. The same as the back end. When you're on the trail, it's all about compensating and taking and causing the least amount of excess effort and strain on your body. The hiking stick is there to assist you, not hinder you once you get really into challenging distances, times and environments. Right, now we're going to move on to a little bit about the thickness or the gauge or the actual diameter of the wood itself, as in the shaft, leading right the way through from tip to the crown. This will play an important part in the stick's ability to help and aid you on the trail. I've got 3 here and they're going to be blatantly obvious that you can see the differences. Something like this is a heavy gauge piece of wood. It feels nice in the hand. It has that primeval feeling of having a really substantial tool and something that is really robust in your hand. It gives you that sense of security instantly. For me, if I was walking around the forest with the dogs, something like this would feel really nice in the hand, and I would have no problems with this, just smashing a few brambles and stinging nettles out the way to continue down the trail. It serves a purpose, but for a multi-day hike, something like this, for a person of my size and build, it would easily become taxing after the first day on the trail. Something like this I would reserve for somebody 6 feet and above and is really stacked and pumped, or of a larger sized person weight wise, where you may need something of this sort of like caliber of wood to be able to support the weight when you're pulling yourself up over banks or steep trails, or descending and you're using it to counter act your downward force or traversing downhill. So something like this has its place, but for the ordinary person, not so much. This would be the perfect size hiking stick on the trail, as I've already described in the opening address here. That's a perfect size of wood. You can see the difference. There is a marked difference in this size of wood. You can feel it in your hand instantly. This one here has more weight. This one here would be perfect for somebody of my height and weight, possibly up to about 6 feet and of average weight and build. Yeah, this is a good all-round hiking stick, like I said, to start with, and it's where I would be moving to for most people. Like I said, I've given the circumstances for this, but as we've talked about the top end of the hiking stick range, as in size of wood, from obviously the average, we then have something a little bit lighter weight. Now, this here feels really featherweight, lovely and straight. This really feels nice in the hand, and for me, I'm already thinking this would be lovely to do a week on the trail in Scotland. It feels nothing. There's no weight at all in this. But the thing that you have to understand is, as it's lighter in its construction, if you was to give this to a 6 foot man trying to scrabble up over a bank and using it, digging in to pull himself up, there's going to be too much flex in that wood, and ultimately there is the danger it could snap. Yet again, you may have this in your hand, like I said, a larger gentleman, and it be literally nothing, and it may aid you along the flat. But using this in challenging conditions, it would not end very well, I would suggest. This is aimed at the average size person, going down to the lighter size of person, or a lady on the trail who doesn't want to carry the bulk and weight, or even a gentleman of a lighter persuasion who you know, does not require anything as robust. Flex is important in a stick because, quite simply, if a stick does have a small amount of flex, it's able to absorb impact into that wood. It's almost got like a shock absorber quality, but too much flex under circumstances that the person's using it can ultimately lead to the stick to fail. So yet again, out of all three of these sticks, and you can see there's a wide variety of sizes that you will have to consider, not only for you as a person, your size, height and weight, it's also the terrain that you're going to be using it on. It's no good using something like this if you're going to be putting a lot of weight and relying on this going up and downhill on steep sections and you're of a heavier persuasion. So yeah, that all those circumstances do play a major factor in the selection of your hiking stick as well. Right then, we've really got to talk about the actual shape of the hiking stick as well. That's very important, yet again, depending on the circumstances that you're going to be using it. Quite simply, I have a nice hiking stick here. It's one that I've got for myself to sell, but incidentally, as you can see, this has got some really nice knuckles, curves, sweeps and bends in it. It does have a straightish usable profile like this, but in amongst it, it's got all those knuckles and curves and bends. This is a piece of beech and it looks absolutely enchanting. It kind of reminds you of something that you would find in Middle Earth, a Tolkien kind of a character using something like this, or kind of like a wizard possibly. But as beautiful as it is and it feels, it doesn't have the unique balance that's required for long distances. This is a beautiful stick as a companion if you're out dog walking or going for a little, you know, an hour walk down through the forest. It will feel nice in the hand, it will look nice, it'll be a talking point, and it'll just become, you know, a close every time you go for a hike, you'll reach behind your front door to grab this to go out. It will become, you know, part of your hiking or walking experience. But when you hold it, there's multiple balance points along the actual shaft depending on where it is, and that's quite simply because the curves, wherever you hold it, will rotate and it will try to find its natural position, and that can be disconcerting when you're using the stick walking and you're moving it. It will feel unbalanced in the hand. That's the only way I can describe it. You will find a balance point like I can find it there, but when you're moving, that balance point has a tendency to move as the various curves and the points change their angles and pitch as you use it. So something like this is reserved strictly for like dog walking or just being out for a pleasurable walk and the stick is your companion, and this for a multi-day hike or a long distance hike. really should be left at home, and you should be aiming for something more straight and uniformed where you can actually put your hand and find that balance point, and it's not going to have various features which are going to provide tip and pitch as you're hiking. So something like this, leave at home if you're out on a long distance trail. Keep this for your dog walk or your little walk around the woods. Right, I'm going to move into like novelty stick or specialty hiking sticks. Now, I've got one here, and it's got a nice piece of African, I think it's African where it comes from, hardwood, and it's in a teardrop style that's been made into a topper on top of a nice little stick. Well, this here obviously is unbalanced due to the heavy net. You can find a nice point there, but when you're using it, you become aware, even though you will find a balance point, the direction of the wood that you're moving in, like that, it does require slightly more effort. And over time, we're talking time and distance, you would kind of notice that, even though it might not look weight or feel weightable now, you notice these things. A small bit of weight over time and distance not only becomes noticeable, as I've discussed, it can become annoying at best and inconvenient and spoil your hike at worst. So what's the advantage of like a hiking stick or like this? Basically, it's for short distances, and it's got that novelty factor. When you're using it and it's down like that, because the weight is there, it acts as a pendulum against this. So when you're walking, you can bring it up and you can get a nice swinging motion. This top weight will allow you, with minimal effort, just to flick it out, and that weight helps counterbalance the shaft and the copper tip. It's a novelty item, very comfortable to use over short distances, but in a full-blown hiking scenario, it's not what I would recommend. This is, like I said, just ambling around the woods and forest, just walking around, stopping. Oh, there's a woodpecker over there, and just resting on the stick like that, and then off you go again. And you're walking along, see something else. Oh, there's a deer over there. Nice resting point on this stick as well. So yeah, novelty items, they have their place as I've described, but they're definitely, their place is not out on long distance trails. I think you can begin to see that from how I'm describing things. All sticks have their place, but how can I put it this way? A long distance trail requires a lot of different other characteristics other than, well, the ones I've shown you here as well, which I'm suggesting for like small walks and things like that. It's not that there's anything wrong with them, it's just that they're not suited for that other task of hiking to those extremes that I'm talking about. This though, you know, feels really like, you could imagine like, you know, a 60-70-year-old gentleman just strolling through the woods, stopping with his dog and just having a little chat. That's what I mean. You can, it doesn't take much imagination when you look at a stick to realise what its purpose and what it was actually designed for. Right, I'm going to move into the quirky and unusual as to regard to hiking sticks. This is one I kept for myself, but I've actually got a British adder going up the actual shaft of the hiking stick. Yeah, you could get away with using it, but it you just knock it and damage the actual carving. It's more for gently ambling about. That's why I kept it for myself. But something like this, because of the intricate carving and stuff like that, you could damage it very easy being out on the trail. So something like this is more ornamental or for a gentle stroll in the forest or around the country lanes. So yeah, I wouldn't be recommending this for a long distance trail. This one here is another one I kept for myself, but it's all dusty actually, but it's ornamental. It serves no purpose on the trail. It's quite heavy. The carving there sits pretty much where your hand would. Comfortable on a short walk. Over a long distance, possibly not. But and that there kind of would get in the way when you're trying to push through undergrowth and things like that. Yet again, this is a specialised ornamental type of stick, just for pottering around and a talking point when you come across people. But it's functional for just walking through a forest or on a forest trail, not a long distance hike. Right then, we've come to what was the Bushwhacker, but it's now the Pathfinder. And I've done a video on the reasons I've had to change the name. That was quite simply because I was struggling to sell it due to rules and regulations, because of the name and what it associates and the connotations. So I've now called it the Pathfinder. And as you can see, it's a substantial piece of wood, a lower hand grip, so you've got it in a golf club kind of way, and it's for smashing undergrowth out the way, brambles, small saplings, stinging nettles. It's just, this one's designed just to smash your way and open up a trail so you can continue and get past the brambles, stinging nettles and very small saplings once a trail gets overgrown, particularly like this time of year. It's a specialist item, and obviously there is a lot of weight here. That is 6 inches of copper on there to give you the ability, blunt force trauma, to smash right the way through that light vegetation. And like I said, the handle's lower than what it typically would be. That's so that you've got the second hand on it, and this is the one that does the grip. All this does is provide the fulcrum for it to go or swing around on. Yet again, this would be okay on a day hike, you know, when you're going into new footpaths and things like that, or areas that you don't know and you just want the ability to smash down some vegetation to continue on your way. But something like this, due to the weight and construction, it wouldn't be any good on a long distance trail. So other features that can help with a hiking stick is adding grip. These aren't finished, as you've seen. This is quite simply still going through the workshop, but you can see I've got a grip on it. Traditionally, you would have that sitting higher and possibly lose a couple rings. You wouldn't need quite as many. But yeah, you can put grip to where you feel that will apply the best holding position on a stick, or I can. But the thing is, grip over a long period will come with some disadvantages. The advantages are increased grip in cold and wet conditions primarily, but if you're not an outdoors person and your hands don't have calluses or hard skin, if you don't do manual labour and things like that, till you've got your hands used to the grip, there's every danger that it could cause a blister, because quite simply it's doing what it says. It's providing grip, and that can, you know, cause blisters on certain parts of the hand because it's obviously not smooth. that problem will dissolve in time as your hands build up a layer of thick skin from outdoor work, i.e. holding this hiking stick while you're using it in challenging conditions. So you can put grips on, but then you can come to the actual crown on top of the stick. That does play quite an important part. We'll start off with the flat top. That's probably one of the easiest and most common crowns you'll find on a basic hiking stick. These are only 3 of the most popular. There are multiple variations on how to do them and different types of crowns, but we're just going to discuss these 3, which is most common on a hiking stick. You got the flat top. Now that's perfect for sitting down on the floor once you're hiking, and your palm of your hand will fit into that nicely. And the other one, it provides a really nice, comfortable resting point for you to put all your weight on and just take weight off your back and feet while you're on the trail or out walking. A flat top really does take all that pressure goes into your palm so that you don't have specific points or smaller areas pushing into the palm becoming uncomfortable. A flat top provides the perfect, what I would call, a lot of the old guys out my way, you would see them resting, back in the day, would see them at a gateway and they'd be stood like this looking out over, talking amongst themselves. Most of them would have a complete flat top. And it's quite simply, it's what you would call a good resting stick, as you can see here. So yeah, flat top. Right. A peaked crown is extremely popular because your hand will sit on it. How can I do this? Like this. Put your hand around, get along, like this, hold it, and as you can see, the thumb will ride right up over in a really comfortable position. So if you want to change from holding it like this to stop you getting like stress points building up in your wrist and fingers, you can bring it up here and place your thumb up over and go along like that. It just offers you an alternative to holding the hiking stick in a very comfortable and ergonomic manner. That is really feels nice in the hand, which means you can break up how you hold the stick. The only disadvantage, obviously, because you got the peak, when you place your hand there, there's a lot more singular point of where the pressure is when you're resting. I can instantly feel that now, even though it's a smaller stick, you can feel that really pushing in because you've just got that as your load bearing area. Right, coming on to the round crown. This obviously offers the best, or it kind of offers the best of both worlds really. It does neither one perfectly, but it does, you can get away with it. The rounded one, you place it on there, rest on it. It feels a lot more comfortable than the peaked crown. Your thumb goes around, but it's not as comfortable because you don't have that gentle ski slope going back up to the high point. It is more severe and you can feel it. So it's the best of both worlds, but it doesn't do what those other 2 do better. It's just an alternative. So you will have to select which crown you want on your hiking stick. Getting to the anatomy of a hiking stick then. This is the tip where you'll all have a rubber point or metal one, an alpine spike, whatever you want to put on it, that's the tip. This is the shaft leading up to about here. This part is the handle. That's the crown. That's the lanyard hole and obviously the lanyard. And all these points can be fluid. They can be in... They're obviously in the same point on a hiking stick, but the handle area, if you're shaping a grip or something, can be higher, can be lower. The actual shaft can be completely thicker up here and it can taper down, or you could have swirls or different sizes of wood as you go down through the shaft. Obviously the tip can be whatever length you want it to be and style. But that's the anatomy of a hiking stick as well, if we're talking about a hiking stick. Right then, you will notice that my hiking sticks are in a particular style, in a particular vein, and everything I've talked about is in reference to my hiking sticks and how I perceive them to be used. That is nothing to say that they can't be used in other manners or in other size or different configurations. This is just me as a crafter, through my hiking experience and using sticks on the trail, how I'm translating my knowledge and my use of hiking sticks into an item I can then pass on to other, well, the customer, and not only the customer, other outdoor enthusiasts like walkers, hikers, and people out on the trail. This is my style. I do know in the States, for example, and certain alpine areas, they like their hiking sticks a little bit taller. Mine are built with basically our footpaths in mind and trails. Quite simply, it's to keep things a little bit more compact, a little bit more wieldy, and a little bit more user friendly when you're on the footpaths and vegetation's closing in, and basically, yeah, just a little bit more user friendly for UK conditions. But I have used my hiking sticks on the continent, out on the trails and the mountains out in central Portugal, and they hold up very well and they do the job. And how I build them has worked out there as well. So yeah, this isn't to say that how I'm doing it is the only way you can do it. This is the thing about stick making. There's a raft of different ideas, a raft of different genres, and a raft of different crafters out there making different styles of items. It's up to you to pick what style that you believe is going to suit you the best. I will obviously dispense my information to a customer that's buying one of my sticks and how I think my knowledge can translate to give the customer, the hiker, the walker, the best experience out on the trail. So all that's left to be said is thanks for sticking with me on a pretty long video, basically explaining a little bit more in depth about hiking sticks, or my hiking sticks, and how their design features and thinking behind them works out on the trail and for other situations. Take care, stay safe, and hope to see you guys on the trail.